Meeting will come to order, please. The notice requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act for this meeting have been satisfied. Would you please stand as we do the Pledge of Allegiance? Attention, salute. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Becker?
Here.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Here.
Commissioner Blumberg?
I am here.
We have before us the minutes of our October 4th meetings. What is your pleasure?
I'll move to accept those minutes.
I'll second that.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
We will now open for public comment. You have 3 minutes. You may speak on any subject.
Sewell 22 West Drive. Mayor, you must disabuse yourself of the dim-witted notion that you can't or won't interfere when your hand-picked school board members deliberately violate their solemn sworn oaths to uphold the New Jersey State Constitution. By right, Mayor, you should insist they stop or step down and then at long last appoint fiscally responsible people. Now it's like the foxes guarding the henhouse. So, Mayor, you not only have a right to do this, you have a duty and obligation to do so. Mayor, once again, it's no ordinary obligation, but rather a solemn sworn oath you've taken and refused to honor. Mayor, it's a disgrace, and you should be ashamed to sully your family name. Mayor, man up and do what needs to be done now. Demand order, thorough and efficient class sizes, starting with kindergarten. Merge them immediately with just one teacher. If parents carp, they don't want a private school experience, but rather a boutique-sized classes of just 10, then do what Linwood would do and make them 10 in the morning and 10 in the afternoon. Mayor, trust me, if you polled the parents, they'd want full-day babysitting. Next, Mayor, demand grades 4 to 8, reduce staffing by making homeowners homerooms 18 students to 21 students, and each and every period thereafter. This practice of gold bricking and feather bedding on the backs of senior citizen property taxpayers must cease and desist at once. What exactly are your fellow octogenarian property taxpayers getting for $13.5 million each and every year that you squander on a bloated, obscene school budget? In a word, Mayor, Dreck. Mayor, you might obfuscate and prevaricate, but the park scores don't lie. Look for yourself, Mayor, on today's handout. Grades 4, 6, 7, and 8. 35% of the fourth graders can't meet minimum math expectations. Grades 6 and 7, 25% can't even meet minimum math expectations. Mayor, saving the worst for last, what do property taxpayers get after 9 years of schooling at $32,129 per pupil per year? Well, over $250,000. Mayor, 44% of the 8th graders cannot meet basic math expectations. This is an absolute fiasco, Mayor. And in private enterprise, the instructor would be fired. Thank you, Mayor.
John, you set a record. I think that you use the term mayor more today than you have at any other one time.
Consider it a term of affection, but it goes for your
Not on this lifetime, John. Thank you.
It goes for your co-conspirators as well. They have that same solemn oath.
Absolutely.
John, let me stay and listen to everybody else. I stay and listen to
Stupidity is hiding.
John, your presence has been requested. Go ahead.
Nick Palmisano, 510 North Claremont Avenue. I would, no, seriously.
Your name and address first, please.
Nick Palmisano, 510 North Claremont Avenue.
Thank you.
And I want to commend the commission and the school board on the financial responsibility that Margate has shown. in this chart that I had printed out from the county, it shows a 2018 breakdown of general tax rate in dollars for each town in the county. And so that breaks it down between what percentage you pay for your county tax, your school tax, and your municipal tax. With the exception of Longport, Margate is the lowest for school taxes. 21% of our tax bill goes to schools. That's the lowest. So that to me shows me that something's going right. I attended the school board meeting last week. I believe they said 8 years without an increase, and we're still getting great results from the schools. And I also listened to Mrs. Lorene Cohen, who does the curriculum at the school. She was touting the park results and saying that the 8th graders are actually above average in algebra. Is that what it was? You guys remember? Yeah, I mean, the park numbers were actually very impressive. So maybe I'm wrong, maybe he's wrong, but what I saw at the school board meeting last week was that the park's numbers were very, very good. So I wanted to say that I feel like the schools are actually being quite fiscally responsible when you look at this breakdown put out by the county. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comment?
I can't do that impression. I would crack up. Brian Duffy, 312 North Claremont Avenue. Gonna just say what Nick said there. The school board's doing a great job, and everybody, Margate has been fiscally responsible for the time that I've moved back here. And Nick said it earlier. He moved from Ventnor back to Margate. I went from Egg Harbor Township back to Margate. Luke Duff went from Galloway back to Margate. I can tell you so many other people that I know that are friends of mine that live in that neighborhood, that lived in another town, moved back to Margate for the education. Main reason why I came up here is I just want to talk about our neighborhood, Claremont Avenue, Douglas Avenue, that whole section of town. I came up here about 18 months ago. We talked about the speeding down Claremont Avenue. And I really do appreciate the study that the police chief did. My feeling hasn't really changed much, but I'd like to see something. And I don't want to wait till something happens to then see correction. And what I'm saying is that there's an issue where if the car is going down Claremont Avenue at 25 miles an hour, like the speed limit says, and there is a large, believe it or not, group of children that are in that neighborhood, and a lot of these kids are flying through the intersection on Fremont, on my corner. They go through on their bikes, and they're having fun and just being kids, and they're not stopping and looking. And I've tried to grab kids and say, hey, you gotta look before you cross that street because the car's gonna clip you. I actually stopped a whole family of kids that I know personally, I'm not gonna say who it was, and talked to them all, and they've been doing much better. But there are high school kids, smaller kids, fly through there, don't stop, and it's not gonna be if, it will be when one of those kids are gonna get hurt. And I'd really like to see some changes somehow, some way, whether it's education in the schools on bike safety, I'll be the first one to help out, or something along those lines. Ideally, myself personally, I'd like to see, if Atlantic Avenue can be 25 miles an hour, why can't Claremont and all the other streets in town be 20 miles an hour? Because that 5 mile an hour difference is going to help the reaction time of the driver stop when that kid goes and jumps in the street. We all have family members here. We all want this town to be safe. I don't doubt that one bit. Let's be proactive in this, all right? If anybody that lives in town isn't happy with the way that the school board is run or the way the taxes are run, I'd be happy to, I have a family member who lives in Egg Harbor Township who would love to move back over here, and we'll do a trade up even. I guarantee their taxes are way higher than Margate's. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian.
Luke Duff, 405 North Douglas Avenue. Thank you for your service and your time. I know it's kind of get tortured quite a bit, but I do want to thank you and commend you with the school board and the education that our children get here. It's second to none. The facts are there. Whatever Mr. Schultz stated about the park scores, I'm not sure if he read them correctly or understood them, not being in education, which I am in education. I'm a teacher at a school near here. And what our children get is far superior than many other schools have out there. And it's because of the people that work in the school, the people in the community who care about it, the local businesses who understand it, and like Brian and some of the other people here said, it's a choice to live here. We all make a choice where we want to live and raise our children. And I am more than willing to pay the school tax or the city taxes for what we have here. This is a great community. There's been no increase in the school tax, so I don't think that it falls upon the whole community, like Mr. Sewell said, that's harming people. I think it's a good thing to increase taxes, because your taxes are like a house. If you let your house go into disrepair and you don't put any money into it, its value is going to drop. If we don't increase our taxes responsibly for things that are needed, our city will go into disrepair. The schools, the community, the water park is an option. Other things that will bring people and greatness to this community are very important. So I'm in favor of keeping our schools the way they are and supporting them however we can, and other opportunities that may come to our community to bring revenue and more people here. As I live on Douglas Avenue also, and I am concerned, I have young children, and with the field being there, the school, the walkers, I am not a civil engineer, and I am not in charge of the police or anything like that. And I think our community and our local people do a great job at monitoring children and watching our speeds. But there is the people that come from offshore that cut through those streets up Douglas. And there's a stop at Amherst. There's not a stop at Fremont, and then there's a stop at the next street. I've drawn a blank right now.
Marshall.
Marshall, thank you. And a lot of times the cars do pick up speed through that block because they know that they actually turn up those streets knowing that there is not a stop sign on certain streets. I'm sure you've done studies. I'm sure we've looked into it. The weird thing is, in the past, there's been stop white lines painted on our street. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have the message.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other public comment, folks? Motion to close public comment. please.
I'll move to close public comment.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
We'll now open public comment on resolutions that are on the agenda. Is there any public comment?
I'll move to close public comment.
Second?
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Johanna?
May I have a motion for resolution number 207, 2018, authorizing payment and claim? May I
I'll
have a
make that motion.
Is it 209, right?
209, I'm sorry,
Correct.
209.
I make that motion.
I'll
Second.
second it.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
I'll abstain.
May I have a motion for the consent agenda, number 210, 2018, through 216, 2018?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
I believe we need a motion for resolution number 217, 2018, authorizing closed session for litigation of Lamberti's or contract negotiation.
It's not litigation.
It's
if I can
contract-
correct that. We are actively negotiating,
Con-
but I do think we have the right to go into an executive session to discuss those terms and review that. It's not litigation.
That's why I was looking to you for.
I'll move that motion.
I'll second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Thank you. We are now in closed
Executive.
session. So I'm going to have to ask everybody to please leave the room. We will tell you what the results of our closed session is. If you care to wait, please do so. We have a motion to reconvene our meeting. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Solicitor Abbott, would you make a comment, please?
Yes, we've come out of executive session.
Oh.
The governing body has given me instructions as how to proceed with our negotiations with Mr. Lamberti for his restaurant lease and the issue concerning his parking lot and the bulkhead. And what I will do is give him a call tomorrow, schedule perhaps a meeting with the city administrator and one of the commissioners and myself to try to see if we can pin down these terms with regard to a possible vacation of the portion of where the restaurant sits in return for our obtaining parking that's available to the public. I think that'll do it.
And the
Thank you.
building of a bulkhead.
And the building of the bulkhead, yes. that's-
588.
Is there a motion to
588.
adjourn the meeting?
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Thank you all for being.